Hello everyone and welcome to Old Coins TV channel. If you love exploring the world of coins, their history, value, and rare discoveries, you've come to the right place. Here, we'll share exciting information about coins from around the world, from ancient treasures to modern currency. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to never miss our latest videos. Your collection of 3 Kennedy half dollars, 1982D, 1986p, and 1996p, represents a fascinating journey through modern American coinage, showcasing both historical significance and collectible appeal across different decades of the series. Each coin reflects a unique moment in U.S. minting history. The 1982D marks an era when half dollars were increasingly saved rather than circulated, symbolizing the shift from practical currency to collector interest, while the 1986p represents the mid-1980s revival of half dollars for circulation with renewed mint sets and strong production quality, and the 1996p highlights the continued legacy of the Kennedy series in the 1990s, when the coins were mostly preserved as collectibles and educational pieces rather than everyday change. Collectively, these coins demonstrate the evolution of minting technology, copper-nickel clad composition, and preservation trends, while also honoring the enduring legacy of President John F. Kennedy, whose iconic portrait remains a symbol of national pride and historical memory. This trio not only offers aesthetic and numismatic value but also serves as a tangible chronicle of American monetary and cultural history over more than a decade of Kennedy half-dollar production. The 1982D Kennedy half dollar is one of the most historically interesting, condition-sensitive, and widely collected modern U.S. half dollars because it sits at the crossroads of changing mint technology, declining circulation use, and the final years before the denomination practically disappeared from everyday commerce, making this coin a powerful symbol of America's transition from silver coinage traditions to modern copper-nickel clad coinage, struck at the Denver Mint and bearing the small d mint mark on the obverse to the right of President John F. Kennedy's truncation. The 1982D was produced in extremely high numbers, more than 108 million pieces, yet paradoxically remains elusive in high mint state grades because the Denver Mint in the early 1980s was notorious for weak strikes, bag marks, dull luster, planchette abrasion, and poor die quality, all of which resulted in a large portion of surviving examples being heavily scuffed, contact marked, or flat in critical design areas such as Kennedy's hair above the ear, the cheekbone, and the feathered tips of the eagle on the reverse. Compositionally, the coin follows the post-1971 clad standard of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded over a pure copper core, giving it a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a reeded edge, but unlike earlier silver half dollars it has no intrinsic bullion value, meaning its worth is entirely dependent on collector demand, condition, eye appeal, and rare variety presence. The obverse design by Gilroy Roberts features a left-facing bust of Kennedy with the word Liberty along the upper rim, "In God We Trust" beneath the chin, and the date 1982 split by the truncation, while the reverse by Frank Gasparo displays the modified presidential seal with a heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a shield on its chest, and a ring of stars above its head, with United States of America and half dollar framing the rim and E pluribus unum positioned above the eagle. Historically, 1982 marked a time when the U.S. Mint had stopped issuing half dollars for general circulation in large numbers because vending machines and cash registers no longer accommodated the denomination, so most 1982D halves were released mainly through Federal Reserve channels but were not widely used, resulting in millions being stored in bank vaults or hoarded by the public, which ironically kept many coins technically uncirculated but cosmetically unattractive due to bulk storage damage. As a result, The 1982D is extremely common in lower mint state grades such as MS60 Mega Siemens 63 but becomes dramatically scarcer and more valuable in MS65 and especially MS66 and MS67, where only a tiny fraction of the original mintage qualifies, making top-graded pieces highly sought after by registry set collectors who compete fiercely for the finest known examples. Typical circulated examples are usually worth face value, while average uncirculated pieces might sell for a modest premium, but sharply struck, blazing luster specimens with minimal contact marks can command significantly higher prices, and certified MS67 examples can be worth many hundreds to even thousands of dollars, illustrating one of the strongest condition rarities in modern U.S. coinage. The 1982D is also famous among error collectors for dramatic mint errors including off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchettes, double strikes, die cracks, retained cuds, lamination errors, and rare double die varieties, with some spectacular errors selling for substantial sums because they are visually striking and far rarer than standard coins. Beyond monetary value, the 1982D holds cultural significance as a representation of how the Kennedy half-dollar slowly transitioned from a circulating coin used in everyday purchases during the 1960s and 1970s into a largely ceremonial, commemorative, and collector-driven issue by the early 1980s, symbolizing both public nostalgia for President Kennedy and the changing structure of American commerce. Today, this coin is a cornerstone date in modern Kennedy half-dollar collections, often serving as a challenge coin for collectors attempting to build high-grade sets, and while millions exist, only a microscopic percentage exhibit the pristine surfaces, razor-sharp details, booming cartwheel luster, and perfect eye appeal necessary to be considered elite specimens, making the 1982D Kennedy half-dollar one of the most fascinating examples of how a seemingly common modern coin can become a true rarity at the top of the grading scale and remain an enduring object of admiration, study, and competition within the numismatic community. The 1982D Kennedy half-dollar also carries special importance because it represents a turning point in modern U.S. minting history when quality control, production priorities, and public demand for large denomination coins were all changing at the same time, creating a situation where enormous quantities were produced but surprisingly few were preserved in truly premium condition. And this contrast between high mintage and extreme high-grade scarcity is exactly what makes the 1982D so educational and fascinating for collectors today. During this period, the Denver Mint was operating under intense production pressure to meet circulating coinage needs for cents, nickels, dimes, and quarters, while the half-dollar had become a low-priority denomination, resulting in dies being used far beyond their ideal life, which caused soft details, mushy lettering, flat hairlines on Kennedy's portrait, and weak feather separation on the eagle. And because these coins were often dumped into large canvas bags and stored in vaults rather than being carefully rolled for circulation, heavy bag friction, rim nicks, and slide marks developed even before the coins ever reached the public, meaning that technically uncirculated examples often look worn and unattractive compared to other dates. This is why the 1982D is considered a condition rarity, rather than a traditional low mintage rarity, because while millions survive, only a microscopic number show full strike, frosty or semi-proof-like luster, clean fields, and sharp design definition simultaneously, making truly premium examples surprisingly difficult to locate even after decades of searching. Another layer of collectability comes from the wide variety of error coins discovered for this issue, including dramatic off-center strikes that show partial or missing dates, broad strikes with expanded rims, multiple struck pieces that display overlapping images of Kennedy's portrait, clipped planchettes with curved missing metal along the edge, lamination errors where metal peels from the surface, and die break varieties such as retained cuds that form raised blobs of metal, all of which add strong visual appeal and command high prices in the error coin market. Historically, the 1982D also symbolizes the fading presence of half dollars in everyday American life, as many younger collectors today have never received a half dollar in regular change, making this coin part of the last generation that could still theoretically appear in circulation, and this emotional and nostalgic connection further increases its desirability. Taken together, the 1982D Kennedy half dollar stands not merely as a common modern coin but as a powerful case study in minting economics, storage practices, quality control limitations, and collector psychology, proving that rarity is not always about how many were made, but how many survive in truly exceptional condition. Which is why it continues to be studied, collected, graded, traded, and admired by numismatists around the world. Another deeply important aspect of the 1982D Kennedy half dollar is its role in the evolution of modern U.S. collecting culture, because it belongs to a group of early 1980s clad half dollars that quietly became sleepers in the market, coins that for many years were ignored as common, low-value pieces but later revealed themselves to be surprisingly difficult to locate in true gem condition, leading to dramatic re-evaluations by professional grading services, registry set competitors, and advanced collectors. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, as third-party grading became more widespread, collectors began submitting large quantities of 1982D halves to certification services, only to discover that most examples failed to reach the higher mint state levels due to heavy bag marks, dull luster, weak strikes, and unattractive toning, and this sudden realization caused a surge in demand for the very few coins that did qualify as MS66 and above, turning what was once a face value coin into a key date in top-grade modern Kennedy sets. These elite pieces often display vibrant, undisturbed cartwheel luster, sharply defined hair strands on Kennedy's portrait, fully separated feathers on the eagle, crisp lettering, and clean open fields, characteristics that are almost never seen together on this issue, which is why collectors often describe high-grade 1982D halves as unicorns within the Kennedy series. Aesthetically, some surviving specimens have developed natural peripheral toning in shades of gold, amber, blue, or violet from decades of storage in paper or canvas bags, adding an extra layer of desirability for toning specialists who value originality and eye appeal. Culturally, the coin also represents the lingering national reverence for President John F. Kennedy, whose image continues to resonate strongly with Americans decades after his presidency, and the half dollar that bears his likeness serves as both a circulating coin and a small memorial, making the 1982D a quiet but meaningful artifact of American history. Today, whether pursued as a registry set challenge, an error coin treasure, a tone coin collectible, or a nostalgic keepsake, the 1982D Kennedy half dollar occupies a respected and steadily growing place in modern numismatics, proving that even a coin produced in the hundreds of millions can become scarce, competitive, and highly prized when true quality is the defining factor. From a market and investment perspective, the 1982D Kennedy half dollar has become a textbook example of how modern U.S. coinage can evolve from everyday pocket change into a serious collector asset purely through the forces of condition rarity and registry competition. Because while circulated and low mint state examples remain abundant and inexpensive, the price curve rises steeply and dramatically once a coin reaches the highest certified levels, creating one of the sharpest value gradients in the entire Kennedy half dollar series. Over the years, collectors attempting to assemble finest known or near finest sets have pushed demand strongly toward MS66, MS67, and exceptionally clean proof-like pieces, causing auction records for these grades to climb rapidly whenever a fresh, premium quality coin appears on the market, and in many cases these coins sell within minutes of being listed because serious buyers know how rarely such examples become available. This pattern has turned the 1982D into a modern, conditional key, meaning that it is not rare by mintage but is extremely rare in the grades that matter most to competitive collectors, and this has also encouraged thousands of raw examples to be searched, sorted, and resubmitted in hopes of finding a single top-grade coin, further reducing the remaining pool of high-quality survivors. The long-term outlook for elite 1982D halves remains positive because new high-grade discoveries become less likely as original hoards are exhausted, while demand continues to grow from registry set participants, heir collectors, and general Kennedy series enthusiasts, and as a result, the coin has secured a lasting reputation as one of the most challenging and rewarding modern U.S. issues to locate in pristine condition, transforming it from a forgotten clad half-dollar into a quietly powerful icon of modern American numismatics. Finally, when the 1982D Kennedy half-dollar is viewed as a whole, its historical timing, minting circumstances, survival patterns, grading realities, collector demand, and cultural symbolism, it becomes clear that this coin stands as far more than just another copper-nickel-clad half-dollar, because it perfectly illustrates how a denomination can fade from everyday circulation while simultaneously rising in numismatic importance, creating a dual identity as both a forgotten piece of pocket change and a prized collectible. For new collectors, it often serves as an educational milestone coin that teaches the difference between mintage rarity and condition rarity, while for advanced collectors it represents a long-term pursuit that can take years of searching, upgrading, and selective buying to finally obtain a truly superior specimen. Its wide availability in average condition also makes it a popular entry point into Kennedy half-dollar collecting, while its extreme scarcity in MS-67 and above transforms it into a competitive, trophy coin that commands respect in auction catalogs and registry rankings. Emotionally, many collectors are drawn to it because it reminds them of a time when half-dollars still appeared in banks, holiday gift sets, and special occasions, linking personal memories to national history, and this nostalgic connection further strengthens its desirability. As decades pass and original bank-held quantities continue to be broken up, spent, or damaged, the already tiny population of elite survivors becomes even more fixed and irreplaceable, ensuring that the 1982D Kennedy half-dollar will remain a central, admired, and increasingly challenging issue within the modern U.S. coin market for generations to come. The 1986 P. Kennedy half-dollar is an important modern United States coin that represents a major revival moment for the half-dollar denomination and reflects broader economic, technological, and cultural changes taking place in America during the mid-1980s, making it far more significant than its simple face value might suggest. Because after several years in which half-dollars were produced mainly in limited quantities and rarely seen in everyday transactions, the United States Mint in 1986 resumed large-scale production for circulation, and the Philadelphia Mint struck over 13 million examples, officially returning the 50-cent piece to wider availability. Even though public use remained limited, the coin continues the iconic Kennedy design introduced in 1964 in honor of President John F. Kennedy, whose sudden assassination deeply impacted the nation and led Congress to approve his portrait for the half-dollar as a permanent memorial, making every Kennedy half-dollar, including the 1986 P. a small circulating monument to a beloved American leader. The 1986 P is composed of copper-nickel-clad metal, with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a solid, durable structure that produces a bright silver-like appearance without containing precious metal, and it weighs 11.34 grams, measures 30.61 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge that contributes to its substantial feel in the hand. The obverse features Gilroy Roberts' left-facing portrait of Kennedy with "Liberty" around the top rim, "In God We Trust" below his chin, and the date, 1986, at the bottom, while the small P mint mark appears to the right of his neck, signifying production at the Philadelphia Mint. and the reverse carries Frank Gasparo's presidential seal with a powerful eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by 50 stars and the inscriptions, United States of America, and half dollar, symbolizing both national unity and readiness. Historically, the year 1986 marked America's celebration of technological progress, economic expansion, and renewed national confidence following early 1980s inflation struggles. And this cultural optimism is mirrored in the Mint's decision to reintroduce half dollars into broader circulation. Though changing payment habits, vending machine standards, and the growing use of paper currency and electronic transactions meant that the public still rarely spent them, resulting in millions of 1986 halves being quietly saved by banks, collectors, and casinos rather than worn down in everyday use. Today, this has created a unique collecting environment in which most surviving 1986 coins remain in uncirculated condition, making them widely available yet surprisingly difficult to locate in truly high-grade form due to contact marks from bulk bag storage. And while typical uncirculated examples sell for only a small premium over face value, usually between $1 and $3, coins graded MS65 and MS66 can sell for $15 to $40, and rare MS67 pieces can exceed $150 to $300 or more, depending on surface quality and eye appeal. Rare varieties such as off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, double strikes, and die cracks add an exciting specialty market, with some dramatic errors selling for several $100s, further proving that even modern clad coins can offer treasure hunt potential. Culturally and educationally, the 1986 Kennedy half dollar is frequently used in schools, museums, and beginner collections to teach about U.S. coin anatomy, clad composition, modern minting technology, and presidential history, while also symbolizing the quiet fading of the half dollar from daily American life into a denomination preserved more by collectors than by commerce. And in this way the 1986 stands not only as a circulating coin but as a historical artifact that captures a transitional moment in U.S. monetary history, bridging the past silver era with the modern clad era and preserving the enduring legacy of President Kennedy in a tangible, lasting form. Beyond its basic design and mintage facts, the 1986 Kennedy half dollar also reflects an important shift in how Americans were beginning to interact with physical money, because the mid-1980s marked a time when debit cards, ATMs, and electronic banking were becoming more common, gradually changing the public's dependence on heavy coinage. And this shift played a major role in limiting the actual circulation of the 1986 despite its official status as a circulation issue. Many of these coins were distributed directly to banks and casinos, especially in Nevada and Atlantic City, where half dollars were heavily used in slot machines, and after being cycled through casino floors, huge numbers were returned to Federal Reserve vaults, leading to the unusual situation in which coins technically circulated, but still retain near mint surfaces today, which is why collectors can often find rolls of brilliant, lustrous 1986 halves decades later that look almost newly struck. Another factor that increases the long-term appeal of this issue is that 1986 was the first year since 1983 that half dollars were once again available in mint sets, allowing collectors to acquire officially packaged uncirculated examples, but these mint set coins often display softer strikes and muted luster compared to some circulation strike pieces, creating interesting grading and comparison challenges. Numismatically, the 1986 is frequently studied for its die varieties, polishing lines, and subtle double die features, which, while usually minor, offer a deeper level of collecting for specialists who enjoy microscopic examination and cataloging, turning a common modern coin into a subject of research and discovery. In certified population reports, there is a noticeable decline in numbers above MS66, making top-tier examples genuinely difficult to locate and giving registry collectors a competitive incentive to pursue the finest known specimens, Emotionally and culturally, the 1986 continues the Kennedy half-dollar's role as one of the most meaningful memorial coin series in the world, since millions of Americans still associate the image of John F. Kennedy with hope, progress, and national unity, and owning a 1986 is therefore not just about collecting metal but about preserving a tangible reminder of a powerful historical era. Overall, this coin stands as a quiet witness to America's monetary evolution, technological growth, and cultural memory, proving that even modern clad coinage can carry layers of meaning that deepen with time. From a production and quality control standpoint, the 1986 Kennedy half-dollar illustrates how the Philadelphia Mint had entered a period of modernization and efficiency that greatly influenced the physical appearance of coins struck during this decade, as newly upgraded coining presses, refined blank preparation, and improved annealing processes produced coins with strong metal flow, bright luster, and consistent edge reading. Yet at the same time, bulk handling and high-speed bagging caused many pieces to acquire light contact marks before ever reaching the public, which is why collectors today must carefully evaluate fields, cheek areas, and the open spaces around Kennedy's jawline and the eagle's wings when grading these coins. In addition, 1986 halves often show faint die polishing lines near the motto and in the open fields, evidence of aggressive die maintenance that helped prolong die life but also created subtle surface characteristics that can be mistaken for cleaning if one is not experienced in modern U.S. coin diagnostics. Historically, 1986 was also a symbolic year for American innovation and national pride, highlighted by technological achievements, space exploration milestones, and growing global influence, and the renewed minting of half-dollars can be seen as part of a broader effort to maintain continuity with traditional denominations even as society moved toward digital payment systems. In private collections, original Federal Reserve wrapped rolls of 1986 halves are often preserved as miniature time capsules from the mid-1980s. And collectors enjoy the experience of opening these rolls decades later to discover coins with original mint frost and vivid luster, turning roll searching into a form of historical exploration. Academically, the 1986 Kennedy half-dollar is regularly cited in numismatic literature discussing modern clad coin grading challenges, particularly because its wide availability in uncirculated condition makes it ideal for teaching surface preservation standards and strike quality evaluation. Ultimately, this coin continues to bridge the gap between circulation currency and collector preservation, reinforcing its status as a modern classic within the Kennedy half-dollar series and ensuring its lasting place in American numismatic. Another meaningful dimension of the 1986 Kennedy half-dollar is the way it reflects changing public psychology toward saving and collecting coins rather than actively spending them, because by the mid-1980s many Americans had already developed the habit of pulling half-dollars, Kennedy coins, and older silver pieces out of circulation the moment they encountered them, believing, correctly, that they would become harder to find in the future. And this widespread saving behavior greatly reduced circulation wear on the 1986 issue, allowing large numbers of examples to survive today in almost pristine condition. This phenomenon effectively transformed what was officially a circulation coin into a semi-collector issue, a category that modern numismatists recognize as an important stage in U.S. monetary evolution. As a result, today's market is rich with original rolls, mint-sealed bags, and estate hoard examples of 1986 halves, giving collectors an unusual opportunity to experience genuine, bank-fresh coins decades after their release, something rarely possible with older denominations. For registry collectors and high-grade specialists, the coin's surfaces are carefully analyzed for uninterrupted luster, smooth cheek fields, and clean reverse wings, because the slightest abrasion can significantly affect its final grade, and this creates a competitive environment that adds excitement and prestige to acquiring top population examples. Culturally, the continued popularity of the Kennedy half-dollar in gift-giving, memorial keepsakes, and ceremonial savings also strengthened the 1986 P's role as a symbolic coin rather than a transactional one, meaning many were preserved in drawers, albums, and family collections as personal mementos linked to President Kennedy's legacy. Ultimately, the 1986 P. Kennedy half-dollar stands as a quiet but powerful symbol of how American coinage was transitioning away from everyday utility toward historical preservation, capturing a moment when tradition, memory, and modern finance intersected in a single enduring design. The 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar is a modern United States coin that represents both a continuation of the iconic Kennedy series and a notable moment in the mid-1990s numismatic landscape, reflecting broader cultural, technological, and monetary trends in America, and offering a wealth of historical, collectible, and educational significance that far exceeds its modest face value. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the small P mintmark to the right of President Kennedy's neck on the obverse, this coin carries forward Gilroy Roberts' classic left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy, with "Liberty" arching boldly across the top, the national motto, "In God We Trust," situated just below Kennedy's chin, and the date, 1996, at the base, while the reverse continues Frank Gasparo's majestic rendition of the presidential seal, featuring a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and a bundle of 13 arrows, surrounded by 50 stars, and the inscriptions, "United States of America," and "half-dollar," which together convey both artistic elegance and patriotic symbolism. Composed of copper nickel-clad, the coin consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a bright, silvery appearance without containing precious metals, weighing 11.34 grams, measuring 30.61 millimeters in diameter, and featuring a reeded edge that enhances its tactile presence and traditional feel, reflecting the Mint's ongoing commitment to durable, functional coinage while maintaining aesthetic appeal. Mintage for the 1996 P was approximately 66 million coins, which, while high, does not fully reflect the scarcity of high-grade examples because most of these coins were either saved by collectors, retained in bank vaults, or placed into casino circulation rather than being widely used in everyday commerce, resulting in many surviving pieces displaying mint state luster, well-preserved surfaces, and minimal wear even decades later. Economically, the 1996 P issue illustrates the broader trend of half-dollars transitioning from active circulation coins to collectible and semi-commemorative items, as changing payment habits, vending machine requirements, and public preference for smaller denominations gradually reduced the coin's role in daily transactions, yet simultaneously created a thriving collector market, especially for coins graded MS65 or higher, with pristine examples often commanding premiums ranging from $10 to $50, and exceptionally preserved MS66 or MS67 specimens attracting collectors and professional grading attention with values that can exceed $200, reflecting the modern numismatic principle that condition, eye appeal, and original luster are critical to market desirability. Error coins from this year, including off-center strikes, die cracks, and planchette anomalies, further enhance the coin's collectible appeal, providing numismatists with both challenges and opportunities to study minting processes and discover unique specimens that tell stories of production quirks and quality control variation, and these errors, depending on severity and visibility, can often fetch significant premiums. Culturally, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar continues to embody the enduring legacy of President Kennedy, serving as a tangible connection to the early 1960s, a symbol of national unity, and a reminder of historical memory preserved through coinage, while also offering educational value, as it is frequently used in classrooms, museums, and beginner collector programs to illustrate concepts such as clad composition, modern minting techniques, coin grading, and the evolution of American coinage from precious metal content to base metal alternatives. Technologically, the coin reflects the Philadelphia Mint's refined coining processes of the 1990s, including high-speed presses, uniform planchet preparation, improved die polishing, and advanced quality control measures, which together produced coins with strong strikes, defined detail in Kennedy's hair and facial features, and crisp eagle feathers and arrows on the reverse. Those subtle polishing lines and light contact marks are often visible under magnification, providing both educational insight into minting practices and practical challenges for collectors seeking top-quality examples. Socially and historically, the 1996 piece serves as a bridge between traditional circulating coinage and the modern collector market, representing a period when half-dollars were increasingly regarded as collectible keepsakes rather than functional change, and this transition is reflected in the survival rate of high-grade coins, the popularity of original roll searching, and the appearance of estate hoard discoveries decades after initial release. Ultimately, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar is not simply a coin of its era, but a layered artifact of American culture, economics, minting technology, and numismatic tradition, combining accessibility, educational value, historical resonance, and artistic merit, ensuring that it remains a highly studied, collected, and cherished piece within the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series and in modern American coin collecting. Beyond its design and technical specifications, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar also serves as a fascinating reflection of the evolving role of coinage in American society during the mid-1990s, a period when traditional coins were gradually shifting from everyday use toward collector-focused and ceremonial purposes. By this time, half-dollars were no longer commonly encountered in pocket change, vending machines, or transit systems, and most of the 1996 P coins produced were quickly saved by banks, collectors, and even private hoarders, which explains why an unusually high percentage survive today in mint state condition, with original luster intact and only minimal contact marks from bulk handling, making it a coin that offers both accessibility for new collectors and a serious challenge for numismatists seeking top-tier examples. This phenomenon also highlights the impact of public perception on coin preservation, as collectors and casual savers alike recognize the half-dollar's historical significance as a Kennedy memorial and its limited circulation, leading to behavior that ensured the coin's survival in near-perfect condition decades later, effectively transforming what was intended as a medium of exchange into a collectible and semi-commemorative object. From a numismatic perspective, the 1996 P is valued not only for its high-grade examples but also for subtle die varieties, minor doubling, die polishing lines, and occasional minting anomalies that provide opportunities for advanced study and specialization, turning what might appear at first glance to be a common modern coin into a source of discovery and research, especially for collectors who focus on modern series, population reports, and registry sets. Educationally, the coin is frequently used to teach students and hobbyists about modern coin composition, including the copper-nickel clad structure, the importance of die alignment, strike pressure, and the effects of mass production minting techniques on coin surfaces, while also serving as a practical example of how mintage numbers do not necessarily correspond to rarity when considering collector-grade survival. Culturally, the 1996 P continues the enduring tradition of the Kennedy half-dollar series as a tangible connection to President Kennedy's legacy, symbolizing themes of national pride, historical remembrance, and continuity within American coinage, while also representing the broader societal trend of coins being valued as keepsakes, learning tools, and collectible assets rather than simply small change instruments. Finally, from a collector and market standpoint, the 1996 P Kennedy half-dollar exemplifies how condition, provenance, and eye appeal dominate modern valuation, with high-grade coins commanding premiums, estate rolls and hoards providing treasure hunting excitement, and even modest error varieties attracting specialized interest. ensuring that this issue remains a significant, historically resonant, and actively studied piece within the Kennedy half-dollar series and the wider realm of modern American numismatics. From a production and technical standpoint, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar showcases the Philadelphia Mint's refined coining processes of the mid-1990s, reflecting decades of improvement in metal preparation, die creation, and striking technology, which combined to produce coins with consistent thickness, sharp detail, and a bright, even finish. The Mint employed high-speed coining presses capable of striking thousands of coins per hour, while carefully polished dies and uniform copper-nickel planchettes ensured that features such as Kennedy's hair, facial contours, and the eagle's feathers, arrows, and olive branch were fully detailed, creating a coin that is both aesthetically pleasing and technically precise. However, despite these technological improvements, coins handled in bulk during packaging and shipping often acquired minor contact marks, faint bag abrasions, or subtle polish lines, making careful grading essential for collectors seeking the finest examples, and contributing to the nuanced understanding of modern mint state evaluation, where even a seemingly small mark can affect the coin's assigned grade and market value. Historically, the 1996 P reflects a transitional era in U.S. coinage when circulating denominations were increasingly preserved by collectors rather than spent, highlighting a shift in societal behavior and economic habits, including the growing reliance on electronic payments, credit cards, and ATMs, which decreased the practical use of larger coins like half-dollars. Socially and culturally, the coin continues to symbolize the enduring legacy of President John F. Kennedy, whose portrait serves as a memorial to a transformative period in American history, linking personal, national, and generational memory to a tangible object that can be held, studied, and preserved. Numismatically, the 1996 P is also used as a teaching tool for understanding modern die varieties, strike quality, population reports, and error detection, allowing collectors, students, and hobbyists to learn both the science and art of coin evaluation. Market-wise, uncirculated examples remain accessible for beginner collectors, while higher-grade MS-65 MS-66 coins, especially those with original luster and eye appeal, can fetch $20 $50, and rare MS-67 examples or certified registry quality coins often exceed $150, illustrating how condition, preservation, and aesthetic appeal dominate the modern collector market. Ultimately, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar is far more than a simple medium of exchange. It is a complex artifact that embodies technological refinement, historical commemoration, cultural resonance, educational value, and collectible desirability, solidifying its enduring place within both the Kennedy half-dollar series and the broader narrative of American coinage in the late 20th century. In addition to its technical and historical significance, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar offers insight into the broader collecting culture of the 1990s, a period when modern coins increasingly became objects of study, preservation, and investment rather than merely mediums of exchange, and this coin exemplifies the transition because its relatively high mintage contrasts sharply with the strong survival rate of mint state examples due to widespread saving by collectors, banks, and private hoarders, creating a situation in which most coins appear common yet top-grade specimens are notably scarce. This dynamic also highlights the importance of provenance, original packaging, and handling when assessing value, as coins retrieved from untouched Federal Reserve rolls, original mint-sealed bags, or casino releases often command a premium over those that have circulated even minimally, reinforcing the modern principle that condition and presentation can outweigh raw mintage numbers in determining desirability. From a numismatic research perspective, the 1996 P provides a wealth of educational opportunities, allowing collectors and students to examine modern die states, observe subtle polishing lines, evaluate strike strength, and understand how mass production techniques influence individual coins, while also offering a practical example of how population studies and grading standards shape market perception and historical documentation. Culturally and emotionally, the coin continues to connect collectors to the legacy of President Kennedy, embodying themes of national pride, historical remembrance, and personal memory, and its inclusion in teaching collections, commemorative sets, and beginner numismatic kits ensures that it remains both an educational tool and a cherished keepsake. Finally, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar demonstrates how even a modern copper-nickel coin can carry layers of meaning that extend far beyond its face value, encompassing art, history, technology, social behavior, and market dynamics, ultimately cementing its status as a historically resonant, collectible, and actively studied piece within the Kennedy half-dollar series and the broader context of contemporary American coinage. From a cultural and historical perspective, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar serves as a tangible reminder of the ongoing legacy of President John F. Kennedy, whose image has graced the 50-cent piece since 1964 and continues to resonate with generations of Americans, symbolizing ideals such as leadership, national unity, and progress, and giving the coin significance far beyond its monetary value. In addition, it illustrates how modern coinage functions as both a circulating medium and a collectible artifact, because by 1996, most half-dollars were no longer actively used in daily commerce due to changing payment habits, vending machine requirements, and the increasing prevalence of electronic transactions, which made them more valuable as preserved keepsakes, teaching tools, or collectible items. Technologically, the coin reflects the Philadelphia Mint's advanced production capabilities during the 1990s, including precision coining presses, high-quality die preparation, and consistent planchette manufacturing, which together produced strong strikes, sharp detail in Kennedy's portrait and the eagle on the reverse, and a smooth, appealing luster, while still exhibiting subtle features such as dyed polishing lines or faint bag marks that are critical to collectors and graders in assessing quality. Economically, the 1996 P highlights the distinction between mintage and collector value, as although tens of millions were produced, coins in pristine mint state condition, particularly MS-65 or higher, were far less common, with market premiums reflecting grade, eye appeal, and preservation, while rare error coins from this year, including off-center strikes, die cracks, and doubled dies, add specialized collecting interest and can command significant prices. Often several times higher than standard examples. Educationally, the coin provides opportunities for learning about clad composition, strike evaluation, die varieties, grading methodology, and modern minting practices, making it a practical tool for hobbyists, students, and novice collectors alike. Ultimately, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar exemplifies the intersection of historical memory, artistic design, technological advancement, and modern numismatic culture, ensuring that it remains not only a collectible coin but also a meaningful artifact that bridges history, education, and contemporary collecting trends in American coinage.